Morning. Welcome back to the workshop. We're in for another follow along video progressing these curved head mock sash windows like we did in the last video. So in the last video we got the frames glued together and the little outside trims made, and since then I've been making these sashes and getting them assembled. So I've made all the curve of the top sash, glued all that together with the astrable bars and made the bottom sash. I've started fitting them in place, but I'm going to carry on from that point here. This one's not been fitted yet, it's been glued together straight out the clamps from gluing, so we'll carry on from that point. I can do a test fit on the hinges and the locks in this video. The fitting for me of these sashes has changed a lot over the years. Traditionally I'd cut all the horns off and clean all the edges off the sashes and then work them in by hand with a hand plane with a planer. But now I've got the circular saw behind me, I can just use the squareness and accuracy of the saw to cut the sashes to the size that I need them to be and work straight from that. Okay, so now we've fitted them, we've got around 3mm of gap down the sides here. It's got to make the grooves for the hinges so that the friction hinges will work. The friction hinge is going to go in that groove we put in the frame there, and then we need enough clearance rebating for the metal that sits here against the edge of the frame there. So it's about 10mm from this face to the outside edge of the sash. We need to create a rebate in the back of there so you can't see that. So I sent an email to the company saying they'd sent me the wrong handed of these. I sent them a picture and I'd opened it up the wrong way and they were like, It works! Not seen these stood up yet. Full picture. This looks. I think it's pretty cool there. Quite enough gap on that back of that sash. We can cut a little bevel on. see actually here now, we need a piece that goes in the top. I'm going to join onto this top sash with a piece of frame that will bring a draft seal. So this edge of the top of the bottom sash here will have a seal that it shuts against as it closes, create a perimeter seal around the whole of there. So got to make that piece up next. Got staff bead like a proper sash window that will come up and around and go right the way around the curve. That will get chopped into the piece here. We're going to get fixed in place. Right, next little job is to fit the handles. Got these Espagnolet locks, so they're chute bolt locks. So I've bought the ones without the keeps that poke out the side of the sash. So it's literally just a chute bolt. That's the gearbox. That's the chute bolt, which will fire out into the sides of the window to secure it. So it'll go at the bottom of the sash here. So we've now got to groove that into the bottom of the sash and then do a bigger groove or housing for the gearbox to go in, which then it's interacted with a handle on the inside face of the window, and that will operate your lock. I've got a little backing piece I've just cut away because we've got that rebate there. I'm machining the lock second. I wanted to just support this timber because we're machining it across the end grain as it exits the cut, so it doesn't blow these fibres of timber out down the side here. It supports them as it cuts. We get a lovely sharp end to that. Second cut just gives room for the bolt behind the faceplate. You can actually buy a proper cutter that will do all that in one pass. It's called a Euro groove cutter. I probably should have bought one of them years ago, to be honest. So we can use that same cutter. I'm using a 10mm groover just to cut the groove for the gearbox. So it obviously needs to be about 30mm deep into that bottom rail of the sash, and then cut 30mm deep in at that same width, just in the centre. So we're going to start and stop a cut the width of that gearbox there, like that, in the centre of the sash. And that should fit in there, like so, centre. Right, so normally I would now house that chute bolt in on the side of the sash, house that all in so it's nice and flush, and the keep would be housed into the window. Because we've got such a big gap between the sash, the frame, and this rebate here where that sits, I'm a little bit concerned they won't actually meet together. So I'm not actually going to house either of them in. I'm just going to face fix that plate and that one onto the edge of the sash, and they should sit, if I hold it about right, about that far apart, which is perfect for the interaction between them. So hopefully you can see with this project that there's a little bit of a challenge for me as well in just trying new things, and that's something I've tried to do throughout my whole career. With this one, it sort of pushing the limits of how thin we can make everything so it looks as traditional and like a proper sash as possible. And the design of it is to look like that proper sash window. Even a little element there of like the rebate making up with a big curve on it, so it looks like the staff bead. That will be the proper inner sash. So there's a lot of thought gone into this, and it's been a bit of a challenge, but looking like it'll turn out okay. I'm going to make a lining that brings the whole window lining back to the face of the plaster, and some curved architraves as well. So still quite a lot to do on this little project for these two windows.